Welcome back everyone to Roofing Rundown Show. My name is Dmitry Lipinski and today we're talking about how competitive is roofing industry. To discuss that topic, I have two people in my studio, Kalen and Kayleb. Easy enough. Thank you guys for coming. They drove all the way from Chicago land area.
South of Chicago. We're not in the Chicago market. We're about 3 hours south of Chicago.
Every time I say Chicago, he has to correct me. What is it with being associated with Chicago?
Wisconsin could have it.
Yeah. We're more or less in a small farm community, which kind of brings our situation a little more unique. We're not surrounded with hundreds of storm contractors. I'd say that's probably our biggest difference from Chicago.
Yeah.
But you are competitors.
Yeah, we're 20 minutes away. He's in our neighboring town of Effingham, Illinois, and I'm in Mattoon, Illinois. And
we bid against each other probably once or twice a month or so. I don't know.
Well, who usually wins?
That'd be me.
Well,
He's got the experience and the construction knowledge. I've got a public adjuster's license, so there's strengths and weaknesses that we can both we got a little smart in utilizing both of them. He's a licensed electrician. He's got a lot more experience in the industry than I've got, and I kind of follow the technology, follow the trends, and adjust. And I think that's kind of where I've helped him some is just the technology side of it.
And he let me get a lot of paperwork from him, kind of shared some of his insights that he learned just by doing it, running the business, because the business side I didn't really have. So he kind of helped me a lot. So
how long have you been in business?
March 1st was actually about 1 year.
Okay, and you?
Just started this year. So
look at this, couple months in business, 1 year in business, he's helping him. And I don't know what it is, but every time I come to Chicago, it's really, really weird dynamic. I don't see it anywhere else in the country where so many roofers are willing to sit at one table to help each other, to collaborate. I have a lot of friends in Chicago market, and they're all like that. Is it like special atmosphere there? I mean, Chicago is a cold city, but it's friendly roofers living in it. What's the deal?
Just from what I've got in my small amount of time in the industry is that I think, like yourself and all the other contractors are starting to realize if we unite as one, we've typically got one enemy, and that tends to be the insurance company that's underpaying us. So,
or Home Advisor.
Yeah, or Home Advisor.
Or Angie's
I've been
List.
struggling with Porch lately too. So, but I would say that's kind of what I've seen within the. It's only been a year. I went to win the storm in Miami, and kind of from then I've kind of watched it evolve to where more and more small groups getting together, more and more people collaborating, and that hasn't really hit our part of the state yet. We're closer to St. Louis than we are Chicago. I still think that it's a little more cutthroat towards St. Louis market, and we're trying to fill that gap where we're at now.
Okay, so question for you is, so you started, you're 1 year in business, you've been in business a couple months. What's the biggest struggle you're facing right now, as a startup, true startup?
Just really finding what works, and just everyone asking for your money and trying to find where to say no, what supply house to use. I mean, who's going to give you the best bang for your buck, and just trying to do it all and wear all the hats at the same time. And it's just that's the struggle, and trying to bring people on that you can trust to help build your brand and build who you are, and get people to try and convey that every time you're in front of people. And that's been my biggest struggle.
You?
I would say my biggest struggle would be cash flow initially, and now I'm realizing that I have to delegate and pass things off. But I would say my first year in business overall was a great year, but I had a few hiccups. I would call them a few minor black eyes, just a handful. And I think trying to recover the second year from being in a small town, you make one small mistake and it can be glorified.
Give me an example.
We did a siding job, for example, that I had to, I went through 3 crews on. I kept trying to do the right thing. It was a terrible job. I tried to do the right thing, and it got to a point, we got to the winter where it got too cold, and we just couldn't do it at that point. So the homeowner was done with me, and it was in my hometown. I attempted to do the right thing, but just,
word spreads faster?
Yeah, it spreads very fast in a small town, and I think, I never ran from the issue, but trying to trying to rebound from that and continue forward, with the confidence and everything. And that's, this winter I had the privilege of learning some processes and learning some systems. And again, I think that's what it boiled down to. What I lacked at that time last year was I didn't have any of those in place. So
what would you say your competition is? Is like, big market is obviously, we have 2,000-3,000 roofers or people with a roofing license almost in any given market, with a big city, like whether it's Dallas or Denver or Chicago. What's competition in the smaller towns like yours?
Just basically what he was saying with how word gets out. I mean, you do one bad thing, it could ruin your reputation, and then people won't choose you, or they'll talk bad about you. And then.
But do you have a couple hundred people you're competing with, or?
I would say I think the competition, there's probably, I would say, 10 contractors that typically within about 30 miles that a homeowner's going to either get a bid from or select. But I think our biggest disadvantage is there isn't any permitting. They're everything that's done. There's more of a chance for somebody to come in with, themselves and 2 guys and do the roof themselves, as opposed to a bigger company that is, subbing jobs out. There's no, like I said, with the permits, you don't have to worry about actually having to have a license, even though Illinois is a license-regulated state. It's a little easier to get away with sometimes, so that can.
How about labor on the hiring side, subs? Like, so if you have, let's say, 10 competitors, are you guys all going through the same subs, or is it?
I would say similar for what we do. I guess I can take that back. There's probably more like 5 companies that do the storm restoration in our area.
And what population? Is it 30,000? Is it 100,000?
Less than 100,000. If you go within 30 miles, we're probably pretty close to 100,000.
Yeah, roughly about 100,000.
But our Mattoon, where my office is located, it's 18,000 people.
Okay.
But yes and no as far as using the same subs. Like, honestly, when I first got some of our subs was through Facebook groups and Facebook forums and reaching out at the supply house, because he used to work for one of my biggest competitors, and there was no willingness to share subs, or that's what kind of drove me to reach out into the forums and find it for myself. And I went through a couple bad subs that gave me a little black eye at first. And
would you share a bad sub with him?
No.
How about a good one?
Yes, and he's done the same. That's one advantage we've had this year, where I got in a pinch because one of the crews that I found, I invited them to Florida this winter, and they're not coming back right now. So,
Can I use them in Florida?
Yeah, they took. They took 90 guys down there, and it got
90 guys.
Yeah, it got to a point where they just weren't coming back. So I had one, in-house crew, and I got a little, fear that I wasn't, I got busy, I wasn't going to be able to keep up, and he was able to come through and provide some crews, and they're actually doing a roof for us today.
I got some connections.
He's been in the business, 4 years?
Since 2014, in the roofing business and construction since 2008. So
you've been like installing, running crews?
I watched every job. When I was working for the other company, I was on every job, and just the quality control and making sure they were doing things right, and kind of the voice for the customer.
How does it feel to actually be the owner now?
Well, I'm still doing all the roles now instead of just that one. So, but it feels nice to reap the benefits of my work that I've been putting in. So, that feels awesome and gratifying.
I'd say that depends on the day for me, because some days it feels great, but other days it's like the day doesn't stop. That's why when I first got into it, I asked my fiance to give me 2 years, and I've since told her I need 5.
2 years for what?
Just to get me to a point to where I could be able to delegate and have confidence, because I think, like what you told me, I try to micromanage, and what I think I'm conveying and trying to train somebody, I think they're getting it, but they're not getting it the way I want them to. And I can't now, with having 6 guys, I can't be every spot where I want to be. So I have to have a lot more trust and let some mistakes be made. And
that's funny. Just yesterday, I read a post on the Facebook. Somebody posted, everybody wants to live with an entrepreneur until they start living with one.
Yeah.
It's a hard life.
It is. It takes a special woman, too, to be able to put up with it, because like this winter I was gone, 4 to 5 weeks at a time, and being in Illinois where it's cold with 2 kids.
When you're at home, do you ever put phone down?
Sundays I try to put the phone down.
You're trying.
Yes, I would say 80% of the time on Sundays I'm pretty good about it. That's kind of our day. And I encourage none of the guys to work on that day. But other than that, it's a pretty solid 6 days. He made a comment on the way. He's like, man, it's annoying to ride with you. Like, my phone's just nonstop ringing.
Oh, you haven't ride with me. That's straight out dangerous and illegal.
I enjoy it because I've got ADD. If I'm not busy, staying busy, I get myself in trouble.
So tell me about marketing. Like, what's your options in a small town? Like, what's your options out there? Is that, companies still doing billboards? Is it still yellow pages? Is it still books?
That's funny you mentioned that. That's so last year, first year in business, I did a billboard.
How did that work for you?
It was terrible. It was absolutely
even in a small town.
Small town, it was terrible.
Go figure.
Maybe branding for simple branding, but I had no way to track a ROI on it.
You already have CRM though, right?
Yes.
So when people call you, do you ask them?
Yes, we ask now. Last year, see, that was another problem. I thought trying to wear all the hats.
How much did you pay for it? For the billboard?
The billboard is $400 a month. This is the biggest waste of money I could spend.
But it's not like in here you would spend $3,000 at least. $400 is.
It's $400 per billboard.
How many did you do?
I only did one last year, and I switched at the end of the year. They got me to switch. It was a great location on our busiest road. But since then, I've been asked numerous times. I've turned me all down now. There's smarter ways to invest my money, but it kind of caused a little billboard war between some contractors.
But do you know why billboards don't work anymore?
Yeah, just like me, I'm on Facebook at the stoplight, like everybody else.
Everyone's looking down.
Exactly.
I just spent somehow my account got locked out, and I spent 7 days not on Facebook, and it made me realize how addicted I was to Facebook.
We all are.
Yeah.
Let's face it, we all are. Whether you're looking for stuff or stuff is looking for you,
Yep.
but somebody's tagging you. Sometimes you're tagging somebody. You're looking for subs. You're looking for clients. Clients looking for you. When everybody's there, it's hard to ignore.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
But it was funny, like that, literally, there's probably all the contractors now. I think there's probably about 10 billboards up in our town about roofing companies where a year ago there was none. So
You'll never buy one?
Only person making money right now is the people selling the billboards. Yeah.
That's funny.
Last time I looked at a billboard for something was some food.
Yeah.
But isn't it crazy? $400 a month, and you have nothing to show for it.
No.
Branding maybe, but overall,
I think it's an ego thing, and my dad said it best. It made last year, my first year in business, it made me feel good that I had a sign below Jimmy John's. I honestly think at the end of the year, after thinking about it, that's more what it was than I didn't care about my rate of return. I felt good because I had a billboard up.
I can tell you it applies almost to everything. Like I see a lot of guys, they'll do like video or picture, or sometimes they'll wrap their truck. And you wrap your truck, and a lot of guys will not even think about what's actually in the truck. They're not gonna do like 5-6 revisions. Their ego will tell them, oh, it looks cool, I'm gonna go with it, and that's it. So, or they'll have somebody make music video about their company, and it's like pump up music, it's like cool commercial. I'm like, great. They don't freaking care what marketers will come tell them, that what's return on investment is. Like, it make them feel good. Boom, I'm just gonna do it. And I have one guy, he spent $11,000 on a 30-second commercial on a game time, like in his town, and he said never get a single phone call. But he felt great. He bought 30 seconds. For him, it was his Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
Marketers can trick us, can't they?
Yeah, they get to our emotional side. And as a natural salesperson, I'm probably the easiest sold. Anyway, so.
Well, because the way they sell is usually the same line. Can you take more business? Yes, I can. But if you ask them, can you guarantee me more business? Can you guarantee me if somebody would pitch me a billboard today, I would say, listen, here's how I answer my phone calls. I track every number. If you guarantee me that I'll get one job per month, I'm gonna sign up with you. And you're welcome to come to my office any given day and just track. I'll open my books with you, like anything, right? I guarantee nobody will ever guarantee you anything. No. And that's my problem. That's why no guarantees. Sorry, you're out. Yeah. So what other options you have in the small towns? billboards?
Just website design. I mean, getting Google clicks and Facebook.
It should be pretty easy for you because in the smaller markets, there's not a lot of competitors.
I would say I get asked every year, granted it's my second, but the phone book. Like, I think if you're going to hit everybody in such a small town, we've got an older area, a lot of old farmers. I did have
books.
Yeah, still books go out. We got a local, consolidated local phone company where I did an advertisement, the back cover of a phone book, awesome. And I did get a little more rate of return on that because I knew it got delivered to every single person in Coles County.
We recently did the same with one of our clients in Florida, and the same thing. He got 36 leads first week he ran it. It's just some of those older books in like proven markets, they work. If they have really good history, they have good. So that book went to like 250,000 homes, and he got 36 leads first week, and he spent like $2,000. I mean, that's right there already justified.
Yep. I would say other than that, there's not, and that's what we run into, there's not a lot of resources. Your local radio ads, my company personally, I partnered up with the Mattoon Coles County Veterans Coalition. It's a friend I used to work with in the car business. He's a disabled vet. He started a Veterans Coalition to help veterans specifically in our county. And that's had a good rate of return. We donate a check once a month. But really, I think in a small town, it's more about creating cheerleaders for our business because there isn't a lot of outlets for us.
Yeah, just old world of referrals, quality work, people will talk about you. That's how it should be in the first place. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming, sharing your time with me. Enjoy Minneapolis. It is a little bit nicer than last week, a little bit less snow.
I was up in Wisconsin.
Oh. You probably got the same amount.
Yeah, I was in the Dells for a little mini vacation. So
guys, my final message to you is this: what we need in this industry is more guys like this. Even when we compete with each other, we still should be able to sit at the table, maybe share subs, fight the same enemy, whoever it is out there. Obviously, it's not our direct competitors. We have to be respectful. We have to enjoy what we do, and when we do it right, we will not worry about our competitors. And I will see you in the next show. Thanks for coming.